Hey, hello. Yeah. So the Doctor Who Series 12 trailer dropped today, as we pretty much all expected it to do on Doctor Who 56th birthday. I had to maths there for a second. So that's yeah. So we're gonna basically watch another trailer by now. I watched the trailer for the first time, having not seen it before. Watch it live, and I react to it live as I watch it. So, and this is Doctor Who trailer. So I usually give very in-depth reviews of Doctor Who, probably more than most things. A lot about Doctor Who. I probably should. I need to really move this across my table. Well, because I currently sit in the middle, and this is always off. Right, but I guess if you can hear me, that's fine. Oh, actually, I should be careful because I have got the filter on it, so when it drops them to a certain level, it cuts off, so it doesn't pick up enough background noise. So actually, I probably should try and be a bit louder and maybe actually. So this is me doing. This is how kind of prepared I am. That I have to do my tech work whilst I'm streaming, which isn't really the best professional thing for me. But as long as I'm not cutting off, that's fine. Looking at my bars and there, I don't see. I don't know. I'm cutting off a little bit. I think when I'm talking, it's cutting like that. Yeah. Hmm. It is this mic that I've got on, not one of my other mics. Hope. Otherwise, this is gonna be a bit embarrassing. Um. All right. Just before we do that, I'm just gonna real quick drop down my whoops, didn't you up? Drop down my source filter, my noise gate, just a wee bit because is dropping far too early. So I've become much quieter over the last few days, or something else has changed on my microphone. That looks much better. I'm talking now, and it doesn't seem to be cutting off as much as it does before. That's decent. Um, Maybe I should change it to attack time actually. Attack time, hold time, release time. I need to relearn what my noise gate does. All right, enough of that. Sort out my time. Probably move my drop of my. Anyway, I'll
The name's Doctor. The Doctor.
The security of this entire planet is at stake. Can we rely upon you?
I'm not where I wanted to be, but I can work with this.
From Joko.
What? I don't suppose you've seen anything weird around here.
You believe this is alien?
What's the plan? You trust me, don't you?
Have I got to answer that?
Where are we? Paris, 1943? Oh no. Something's coming for me. I can feel it.
Let it come.
Because we're your mates.
Family.
Get away from them! You know things will get into the TARDIS. You better die.
What have you brought here, Doctor?
I don't know. Don't forget to click below and subscribe to the official Doctor Who YouTube channel. The name's Doctor.
Was it just me, or was there some really weird sound mixing in the trailer where I couldn't really hear the dialogue of a almost certain it's not my computer. This is everything on here is on max. Oh, I tell a lie. My speakers are on 70%. Don't know. Oh,
Doctor. The Doctor.
The security of this entire planet is at stake.
right. I would have dropped it. That still shouldn't have made a difference, wasn't it? That's where my sound gate was.
Can we rely upon you?
Anyway,
I'm not where I wanted to be.
there's a weird lag when I click. Let's go through this trailer. Let's go through it as brief as I can because my tips are going to be minutes. I'll skip any obvious kind of things in the show about. Look, can't really comment about. I mean, I haven't read. I don't know what they've released or what's been leaked. So I don't know much about kind of locations of filming that I might be able to kind of extrapolate from. For example, I don't know if this is filmed, but judging by the vines, I'm gonna say probably not necessarily somewhere in Britain or kind of somewhere in Europe. Um, the first shot we get of TARDIS crew from this series. They're all wearing, well, Graham the Doctor and this is where I've like completely forgotten what those other two companions are called, which kind of isn't a surprise considering what I talked about a lot during my reaction videos. The last series, that as far as companions go, these guys are really not that well fleshed out. So it's, I think I've never ever in Doctor Who history, and I have watched Doctor Who like classic series and the new series, so I'm pretty well knowledged. I've ever forgotten the identity of a Doctor companion. Ryan and Yasmin, that's it. So yeah, Ryan, Graham, and the Doctor wearing black tie. Yasmin pointedly isn't, but I imagine that's probably because she's wearing a dress actually underneath a jacket, whilst the Doctor is wearing black tie. Arrive with some sort of party. As we goes. So Stephen Fry is in this series of Doctor Who. I don't think Stephen Fry's actually had a appearance in Doctor Who before, even in other materials. This will be his first appearance in it. I mean, I don't really know what to say about Stephen Fry because I have a very on the fence opinion of Stephen Fry as a person. I used to be a massive fan of QI, so I used to be a massive fan of Stephen Fry. I used to love him in that, and I used to. I loved him in Blackadder. I mean, Blackadder is one of my favorite comedies of all time, and I loved him in that. And I've seen a couple of other things. I've seen a bit of Fry and Laurie. I guess I like him as an actor and as a comedian, though. I mean, what I was gonna go and say is I'm not particularly fond of him as a person, mostly because of his views. A lot of them rub me off the wrong way. But which then also, if I disagree with someone's views as a comedian, I kind of also disagree with their views if I disagree with someone's views, I also kind of disagree with them as a comedian because a lot of their comedy relies on their views. Yeah, he represents a kind of liberal central viewpoint I'm very irksome about. But like I said, I like him as an actor, and I more or less like him as a comedian. So I guess as long as he's not underused, because Doctor Who has this weird trend under Moffat of really underusing comedians. They underused Mitchell and Webb. They underused Bill Bailey. They underused. Oh well, they underused. They underused Lee Mack last season. That was one of my massive gripes. I love Lee Mack. I love him in Lie to You, but he's also got some serious acting chops that we don't really often see. Well, we do if you watch his acting, obviously. But they had Lee Mack in last season, and he was in like 2 scenes, and then they killed him off. And the thing is, his character wasn't even. I don't know. Thing is, they killed him off straight away. And you could say that's like kind of the what's her name? Something Lee something. Jamie Lee. I think it's a kind of Jamie. The person, the actress who was in in Scream. Also as an actress in Psycho. And they were both notorious. They were both relatively well-known names, and so they were, put on the billing high up for those films, and people assumed they were going to be the main protagonist, and then they were killed fairly early on in the film, and then a stealth protagonist appeared, and that was kind of a way to invoke a plot twist by playing on audience expectations of how long a character would be prominent for. But Lee Mack, as much as I love him, isn't that much a household name. And people who watch Doctor Who aren't necessarily people who watch Would I Lie to You or Not Going Out. So it's not really an invocation of that kind of trope. So in which case it was very much a wasted. A lot of these comedians we've seen are well-known British comedians, but not people who watch Doctor Who aren't familiar with necessarily a lot of household British comedians, unless you like the top, like Michael McIntyre, or names blanking. I always do this. Jimmy Carr or things like that, or indeed Stephen Fry. But yeah, I'm kind of going off Doctor Who more into kind of my opinion of the community. Well, I'm not some Doctor Who because I'm like, basically, as much as I'm very middle-ish towards Stephen Fry as a person, I hope they don't underuse him in whatever he appears in. This is obviously seems to be from the same episode, and the Stokes has got reason to wear black tie too, which I mean has happened before. And this looks very much like an invocation of the Edgar Allan Poe trope of having someone trapped under floorboards. I can't remember. I'm very familiar with the Edgar Allan Poe trope. Having, I guess, seen it used in multiple media. But I've not actually read any of Edgar Allan Poe's work to kind of talk more about that. But it's kind of is obviously a play on that, I guess, because it tends to be whenever someone's like on the floor. This is a ship. I mean, a lot of Doctor Who ships are very generic, so unless it's a Dalek ship, it's not as if ships, it's not as if it's Star Wars or Star Trek where ships are very identifiable. Basically, it's just any generic alien ship, but it's on fire. So, what is with this pausing, not being
Back and
immediate?
work with this.
Pause on the Judoon.
Back and work with this.
So, this is obviously Judoon, the first recurring monster we've had in Doctor Who this series, not including the Daleks appearing. Well, a Dalek appearing in a resolution, which I still maintain. BBC, you are cowards for not calling that resolution of the Daleks. You let yourself down. But yeah, so this is the first non-special reappearance of or at least the first in the trailer, first that we've had a hint of. There's another one, obviously further on, who we'll talk about in a second. But we got the chips going to be done in 6 minutes. I'm only 30 seconds through the trailer. Too long ranting about Stephen Fry. So yeah, the Judoon are appearing, which is interesting because the Judoon are very much. I don't think we've seen the Judoon since End of Time. I mean, they appeared in later episodes, I believe, of the Savage Adventures. Interesting, that's the choice to bring back because they were a decent villain, if you want to call them villains. But impact-wise, they're not kind of at the top of what most think would monster. Interesting. It's an interesting choice in that respect. But I guess I wouldn't even say they're mid-tier. Not in terms of effectiveness, just in terms of prominence. I wouldn't even say they're mid-tier. So, but I don't know. Maybe from people who've only really been familiar with the last 10, 12, 13 so years of Doctor Who, maybe this ranks up higher for them. I just think it's an interesting choice.
What?
Actually, is that Arachnos? Because that's an interesting choice to bring back. Maybe much for the same kind of reasons. Prominence. The Arachnos only appeared in The Runaway Bride. We didn't see them since. They're very much a Christmas special villain, the type that only really appear and then disappear, and not really referenced again. So it'd be interesting. I mean, this is the lighting. It appears this is a black Arachnos, whereas red lighting. I think that's purely the lighting on the Arachnos. I mean,
I don't suppose you've seen anything.
okay, hang on. I'll go.
What? I don't suppose you've seen anything.
Pause on this computer.
What?
Do I recognize this actor? I feel like I should, but I don't. Not off the top of my head.
I don't suppose you've seen anything weird around here.
That was a nice transition. And then yeah, we're continuing the trend of having having pop music in Doctor Who trailers, but yes, this is the 18 plus weight now with Christian, but
You believe this is
he looks,
What's the plan? You trust me, don't you?
it'd be great if he paused.
You believe this is alien?
So I'm gonna assume that's the same monster that we saw earlier with Faith. And the scuttling, I mean, that's a very effective monster design. But the scuttling does invoke Rachnos to me. But then that has a scorpion tail on it, which Rachnos doesn't. So maybe it's a similar species. I don't know if they'll drop on that. Or I mean, I guess to be fair, there are tons of spider-like monsters in Doctor Who history. I mean, the giant spiders from Planet of the Spiders comes to mind, and there was the arachnids of what was it, Sheffield or whatever the episode was called last series. So I guess as far as arachnidish monsters go.
What's the plan? You trust me, don't you?
Remote control car.
Have I got to answer that?
You trust me, don't you?
Have I got to answer that?
Oh, that's Lenny Henry.
Me, don't you?
Have I got to answer that?
So there we see Lenny Henry, who I'm actually more excited about seeing in this as Stephen Fry. Sir Lenny Henry, I should probably say. I don't know why I should probably say it. It's not as if they're going to assume things. Yeah. I'm not actually that familiar with Sir Lenny Henry outside of Red Nose Day, if I'm actually honest. Obviously I've seen him a bunch from Red Nose Day shows. What have I actually seen him acting? I think I've only seen him present things. I've not seen him as an actor, but then again, it's him kind of with Bradley Walsh, isn't it? So yeah, it'd be good to see him in it. I don't really have him. He's clearly playing a villain, because he's using a gun and no one in a pistol rather, but no one in Doctor Who uses a pistol. Who's a good guy? Well, apart from I guess Unit. So I guess actually and Captain Jack. There'll be a bunch of people actually ignore me at that point. But yeah. So he's in the Vineyard episode. Wearing a nice suit. Wonder if he's gonna play someone who's not British, put on an accent. That'd be interesting to see. But yeah.
Where are we? Paris, 1943? Oh no.
Wait, what happened in Paris 1943? Was that when the Nazis landed on it? Look, I mean, I haven't studied history for about 6 years. Can't quite remember when the Nazis landed in Paris. I just know that they did. Didn't they? They did land in Paris, didn't they? Wait, did the Nazis get as far as Paris? I'm pretty sure I've seen a picture. Unless that's... Anyway, this is Harris showing his ignorance with his GCSE history. He's a scientist now. Don't need to worry about history so much.
Something's coming for me.
So here we see the Cybermen after, for me, what was a really disappointing use of them in it wasn't called Genesis of the Daleks. What was the last Genesis of the Cybermen rather? But what was the last what was Capaldi's last full episode called? I should know what it's called. But at the end of series 10, my chips. Okay, sorry, gotta go and got my chips from burning. Rebecca, take over the stream. Anyway, sorry about that. Right, so yeah, end of series 11, series 10, we had the Cybermen, episode with Simon and the Master, in a spaceship. And for Capaldi as a character piece, it was amazing, but plot wise and kind of mythos wise, I find it really disappointing. I felt like we could have done a lot to kind of establish and build upon the actual genesis of the Cybermen, but actually none of it kind of made sense. Doing this whole kind of parallel evolution thing, it was completely ridiculous. I've had problems with a lot of Cybermen episodes as of late, if I'm honest. Nightmare of Silver had a brilliant kind of capacity to be good, but then Moffat kind of really culled its potential when he kind of changed a lot of the script. Is it Nightmare in Silver? It was Nightmare in Silver, wasn't it? The one that Gaiman wrote. I don't think. When was the last time I genuinely? I don't. I honestly don't think we've had a genuinely good Salmon episode since, I want to say, since Doomsday. Wait, what were the episodes after Doomsday? There was Doomsday, then there was. Did we meet the Cybermen in the next two series? I want to say we didn't. I don't remember now. If Tenant any Cybermen episodes after Doomsday before the next Doctor. Huberman, yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah. However, they yeah. I don't know why I got into that as a point of contention. Oh yeah. So I think probably. I think Doomsday was probably the last good Simon episode. And even then, no, actually, it wasn't. The last good Simon episode was Age of Ghosts, because in Doomsday they were completely nerfed. And the whole Dalek versus. I mean, to be fair, kudos to the creators for being like, no, we're not gonna nerf the Daleks by making them equal to the Cybermen. We'll just have the Daleks completely wipe out the Cybermen. But I think the only reason you can get away with that was because I had tons of Cybermen and only 4 Daleks. If they had equal amount, they would have used the kind of conservation of Ninjutsu and had it work the other way around. So I don't know. The Doomsday never really felt like a Simon episode because Simon never really had any kind of roles to play in it. It was only really the Daleks. Next Doctor wasn't. I don't think it was a terrible episode, but because it was a Christmas episode, we couldn't really see the full horror of the Cybermen. So so it was kind of. It was a good episode. It wasn't the best Cybermen episode. And then the next time we see the Cybermen, it's in the Pandora opens when they basically just make a cameo. And then they make a cameo in The Goodman Goes to War. They're not really featured in there. Closing Time was then the next featured episode where they featured Cybermen, and they pretty much weren't any kind of real threat in there. Then Nightmare in Silver, where we again I talked about just now. And yeah, then they make brief reference. Oh, I like even then Dark Water and Death in Heaven isn't really Simon episode because they're really just two. So they've never actually been a threat since 2006. Is the last 13 years we've not had a decent Simon episode. Seeing how scary they've been in the past. Do we think this is the series that's gonna fix that?
I can feel it.
Let it come.
Oh yeah, and pause when I tell you to pause. Full on Betsy, the threat that Doctor's talking about isn't Cybermen.
Because we miss.
Family.
So, go back, but there were kind of some bat creatures, but that was really quick, so I'm not really sure what's really saying now. Don't recognize the silhouette. I feel like I'm watching the commercial break for Pokemon, and I have to guess the Pokemon from the shape. The closest I can think of are Sea Devils, possibly Silurians, don't really seem to look more clear. Nothing else springs to mind.
Get away from them! Enough. Get away from them!
Wish was pause more on the spot. People with alien weapons, but nothing to really, nothing. Some of the history of Doctor Who going there.
I know things will get into the
Right. Okay, so it's not Silurians. That's the same design as what we saw a few seconds ago. The silhouette. The helmet looks very Jadoon-like, but it's not Jadoon shaped. So unless we go about to see another faction of Jadoon, don't really recognize the design here as anything. Sontarans will be the closest, but Sontarans are notable for their round heads, potato-shaped heads, even not pointy ones. So, but also the fact that it's coming through the TARDIS is kind of note.
TARDIS. You better die.
What have you got
Oh, Doctor's got their hair in her ponytail.
here, Doctor?
Some more buttons here.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's my kind of reaction analysis for the trailer. I mean, it's also a teaser trailer. We're not really going to see much as far as plot goes, so don't really expect to have gone into that. Doesn't really feed much into the arcs of the characters that we're going to see. There's a lot of screaming and pain and fear, but it's the trailer, so like he's been misdirection rather than anything to be concerned about. So yeah, I have chips to eat, and I have a video to edit, and I have a D&D game to prepare for tomorrow. So I'm going to end it there. Thanks guys for watching, and see you guys. Actually, they've just dropped another Star Wars trailer, haven't they? I'm gonna go do that first. How long is it? 31 seconds long. Guess let's try. Yeah, okay, I guess I'm gonna do that first, and then. So yeah.